was no basis to spy on a presidential candidate's team. But you have to recall, they didn't need the dossier. They didn't need the FISA warrants. They were already doing spying against President Trump.
The investigation in Carter Page had nothing to do with the Donald Trump campaign?
No, I'm suggesting you asked me if we were surveilling the campaign.
You don't get it both ways. Is it the campaign or not?
Senator, I'm trying to give you what is the accurate information here.
Joining me now is the president of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton. Tom, it's great to see you.
Hey, good to be with you. Thank you, Stephanie.
And for those of you watching, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Daily Caller. Tom, as you know, sparks were flying on Capitol Hill over the former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates and her testimony before the Senate panel. So there's just so much to unpack, and it's obviously a convoluted story that we've been following for some time, and I've interviewed you several times about the Russia collusion hoax, if you will. What stood out to you the most? I know that President Trump basically says she's either incompetent or, a liar.
Well, look, Sally Yates is at the center of gross abuse of power by the Obama administration and, frankly, the deep state DOJ for when she was working there for President Trump for a few weeks, in both targeting, obviously, General Flynn. They know he wasn't a liar. They know he didn't do anything wrong, requiring any investigation, and then of targeting President Trump by attacking Flynn directly, his national security advisor, and undermining his ability to conduct foreign affairs. On top of that, you had Sally Yates, also her Justice Department, was also spying on candidate Trump. There's been this focus on the FISA warrants, which were on their face frauds. You didn't need to know the dossier was a fraud to see quite evidently, reading them, that it was garbage and innuendo and was no basis to spy on a presidential candidate's team. But you have to recall, they didn't need the dossier. They didn't need the FISA warrants. They were already doing spying against President Trump, candidate Trump. And it continued separate and apart from any FISA warrants, thanks again through James Comey and the FBI, that the Justice Department knew was happening but did nothing to rein in.
So I'm wondering about the timing of this hearing and if it's actually going to move the needle anyway, especially with the presidential election just right around the corner.
Well, clearly Senator Graham is responding to public demand for accountability, so he's finally doing some hearings. It's a little late, but better than nothing. The big question is what John Durham, the U.S. Attorney from Connecticut, is going to do. I'm skeptical he's going to do much in terms of targeting high-level officials with prosecution. And so I'm prepared to be disappointed. But, maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I am.
Yeah. And Tom, I'm not expecting you to be a mind reader or know what it's like to be former FBI James Comey. But what do you think he was thinking while watching this hearing? He was thrown under the bus several times, probably assuming he didn't appreciate that. Yeah, well,
he's still walking around, and he's already been given a one get-out-of-jail-free card by the DOJ. I suspect he'll get another one. And he's got another book coming up, so I'm sure he'll push back again in the book. But look, in the end, Yates and Comey, this is all noise for them. They face no real punishment for doing what they did. And I thank President Trump for firing James Comey. That was the most significant anti-corruption move by a sitting president in recent memory.
Yeah. And I kind of talked about the timing of it and if it's going to make a difference or not. And do you think anyone's actually going to be held accountable? And I think Americans want to see someone held accountable. And it's kind of just this repeat pattern over and over again. A lot of these high-profile Democratic officials seem to get away with things that probably Republicans would never get away with.
Yeah, I'm not seeing evidence that Durham conducted a serious criminal investigation of senior-level officials. You see that with the Mueller operation, what a criminal investigation of high-level officials looks like. You get grand juries, you get all sorts of testimony coming in, and I'm not seeing that's taking place here. As best I can tell, it looks like an administrative review, and they may get a plea agreement from an FBI agent or two who was involved in messing with the FISA warrant applications. I see the breaking news that supposedly John Brennan is finally going to be interviewed. Is he going to be interviewed before a grand jury, or is it just going to be, hey, tell us your point of view? I don't know. I tell you what, it's Durham was asked to begin this investigation in April of last year, and now what? It's 15, 16 months later, and still nothing. Unacceptable.
Yeah, there's a lot of heel dragging, if you will. Well, Tom, we're going to leave it here. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you, Stephanie.